Okay, so I'm going on with the review series where I review every single Resident Evil movie, at least one a day, and I'm gonna watch Afterlife today sometime, tonight maybe. But this is my review. I watched Resident Evil Extinction, this movie right here. I watched it last night. I stayed up really late watching it because I had to do other stuff, and I'm trying to make my voice deeper so that you can hear me better. But yeah, I do think that out of every Resident Evil movie, the first two, the first one and then Apocalypse, I think that this is probably my first place pick. I really, really loved Apocalypse so much. Like, I was in love with that movie when I first saw it. So it's kind of like a tie. Like, I cannot choose my first place if it's Apocalypse or Extinction. But yeah. So let's get into the actual review with the pros and cons. So starting with the pros for this movie, I think that it has the best action from the first three movies, at least. Those are the only ones I've seen. I think it does have a tiny bit better action than Apocalypse. It has way better action than the first movie, but I think that Apocalypse and this are almost tied. This just doesn't have as much cuts between fight scenes, so I would say that this one has the edge on action. Another pro that I give this movie is that the characters are all like, you can connect to them, kind of, unlike every other movie I've seen. The first movie, you can kind of connect to Rain, and of course Alice. The second movie, you really don't connect to Jill or anything. The only characters you connect to in this franchise, in this movie series so far, are probably the kid and his son, the kid and his daughter from Apocalypse. The kid, his daughter, and Alice. So yeah. Another pro I have is how they shot this movie. This movie is shot very quick compared to the other ones. The thing is that this one doesn't have as much cuts as the first two, as the second one in the fight scenes. Because in Resident Evil Apocalypse, when you see fighting, there's like 7 cuts every 30 seconds. And that is one very bad thing with lots of fight scenes. But there's at least not too much, so it doesn't ruin the fight scenes. But I think it's shot really well. Another pro I have is the set pieces. The set pieces in this movie are like phenomenal compared to the other movies, specifically the first movie. But the set pieces in this movie are like miles better than what they were in the other movies. There's a gif of Alice, and I think that the set pieces, like when they go to Las Vegas, that whole scene in general is just like almost perfect, to be honest. I love the fights in that scene. I love the set. Carlos is sacrificed. They did that well. I think that Claire is done well. She's not really like she is in the movies until you get to the second half of the movie, or the games, and it is really fun to watch this movie with all the fight scenes. There's like 700 fight scenes in this movie. I'm really excited to watch Afterlife, which I'm probably going to watch right after I make this video. Afterlife, which I heard is in like Tokyo or something. So yeah, can't wait to watch that. And so that is most of my pros. There's a tiny little more nitpick pros, or not like nitpicks, I like them. I think that Alice is in her second best here. I think her best is from Apocalypse, but Alice is in her second best here. I think that the ending is done really well, considering the fact that this is the third movie out of 6 of them. And yeah, those are like most of the pros. So now I go to the cons. I have a few cons with this movie. Like, I think that the way that, like I said with the pros, the way that Claire is portrayed is not really at all like the movies. She's portrayed as a whole different character. She's kind of like cocky, and she's kind of like the Sarah Connor from Terminator 2 of this series, and she's not like that in the games. I can respect that she does like feel fit in as a good character in this movie, but she isn't like in the video games, and I'm not saying that's a really bad thing. Another con I have with this movie is that I think that the Umbrella Corporation in this movie is one of the top 5 weakest Umbrella Corporations in the whole entire franchise, including the games. The Umbrella Corporation in here is really not interesting, unlike the last 2 movies. I do think that the final villain from the Umbrella Corporation is fantastic, but everything else is boring. The clones and the villain are the only 2 things. It looks boring. All the characters in there are boring. I think that Wesker, I heard he's in Afterlife, and I'm gonna have to check him out in Afterlife. But in this movie alone, Wesker is just phenomenal. And when I say phenomenal, I mean phenomenally horrible. He does not do anything. He is freaking trash. I don't even know why they added him in. He's just trash in this movie. He literally does nothing but talk. And the last thing I have to say about this movie is mixed, and that has to do with Carlos's death. I think that Carlos's death is done well in the movie standpoint, but when you actually think about the video games, then this just does not feel right. And he does not, like, die in a proper way that you would expect him to die after being such a major character in the second movie. Or kind of a major character, I would say. They act like he's a returning character from the series when he's only been like 50 minutes of the whole series so far. But yeah, that's most of my review. That's my review for Resident Evil Extinction from 2007, 8, 9, I think. I think it's 2007. And yeah. So to anybody that's watching this, probably the 8 views per 7 months. Blah 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 blah. So, if I had to give this an LC meter rating like I did the last 2 movies, this definitely, for me, has the highest rating out of all of them. This movie, for me, has a 84% rating. I think that the action scenes are done really well. The characters are really latching. I think that the deaths are very good. I think the zombies are way better in this movie. So that's the end of my review / ranking. So thank you for watching. For anybody watching, bye.